In this lecture, we will learn how to create a crown on this lower first mandibular molar. It is essential that you see the videos before this because you'll learn how to work with this software, and what we'll discuss here will be related to the previous lectures. First, we go to the Surface tab and select any model to work on. We won't work on these models. We could either use the mandibular data model or mandibular stone model. In the previous lectures, we were working in the Model Master tab. Now, if we go down to Crown and Bridge tab and select it, these tabs will appear. Teeth Edit Panel. This is in case we have a tooth and we want to edit it, but we don't have a tooth right now. Second is Reconstruction Design Panel. Here, in Restoration type, I select from the drop-down menu Conventional Crown. I select which jaw, the mandible. Here I make sure that I've selected the mandibular data. The antagonist, I select the maxillary data and press Start. Here we have to identify the margin line in the margin line detection mode. Margin line or finishing line, there are two types to detect it. First is the 2-point margin line detection. Here I press Shift and the left mouse button, click on an area on the finishing line. I stop pressing on the Shift, move the view, press Shift again and select another point on the margin. The software detected this as the marginal line. It's very close, but there are some errors, especially at this point. Press Shift and with the left mouse button, press on this area and the software will correct the finishing line. There's another way to correct the finishing line, is by pressing Shift and with the left mouse button holding these green dots and moving them to the correct position. And the software will update the finishing line. I could also add points to the finishing line by pressing Shift. I just simply click and this anchor point will appear. The second way of detecting the finishing line is the manual mode, in which I press Shift on the keyboard and with the left mouse button I press on the area representing the finishing line. Then I move the mouse and press on another area on the finishing line, and so on until I've drawn the finishing line. If I want to move the view to see the other areas of the cast, I have to stop pressing Shift, then move the view, then press Shift again in order to resume making the finishing line. This technique is simpler and more precise. In order to close the gap, I simply stay pressing on the left mouse button and move this yellow ball to the first ball and it will snap to it. And this is the finishing line. After I'm content with the finishing line, I press Next. Here is the insertion direction or path of insertion. The software initially places this as the insertion direction and shows us these black patches as the undercut areas. So I could change the view until I reach a correct path of insertion. Then I select Set insertion direction from view. Notice that the arrow has changed in direction, and now I click Next. Next step is to identify the interproximal area. So I press Shift on the keyboard and left mouse button and paint these interproximal contacts. If I didn't like the marked areas, I could simply click Clear Area and it will go. Then I could mark it again. Now click Next. Here the software has made the cupping that the crown will sit on. Now we'll see the function of each slider. Ground cement spacer is the space between the cupping and the prepared tooth. No cement gap. If I only remove the visibility of the cupping, no cement gap is this green area, which is the area that we do not want the cement to be on it. So it will not dissolve because it's the closest to the finishing line. We could increase the height or decrease it according to the crown type. Horizontal means the horizontal component of the finishing line, or the end of the crown which sits on the finishing line. The angled represents the vertical component of the finishing line. The angle represents whether it is a chamfer or shoulder. And the vertical slider controls how high the margins are. Then we click Next. This window will appear in which we select the tooth. We have to select whether the tooth size is small, medium, or large. In this case, the tooth that I have is large. Here are a lot of designs of teeth according to their morphology. I could select and test any one of these. I've noticed that the Mitchhurst Pontic is suitable. I select the crown, left mandibular first molar. I press large, then OK. Now the software has placed the crown in place. In the next lecture, we'll see how to edit the crown, finalize it, and export it.